So, what I'm thinking about right now is the different ways over time that even if I wasn't mindful of it, the the things that I did to feed my spirit, and now being more mindful, being more aware of what I do, I notice a lot of differences in the things that I do throughout my day-to-day life to feed my spirit, where even if I didn't realize it before, now that I'm aware of it, I can look back and connect the dots to different stages of my life, the things, the ways that I was feeding my spirit and why my spirit was what it was at those points of time. So as far back as I can go, obviously it's gonna be church, right? I started rapping at church. A lot of my a lot of my childhood really revolved around me having a desire to be saved, to go to heaven, to have, a relationship with God, to have the salvation that everybody kept telling me about. And a big part of that was music. Now, I'm not gonna list all of the music, but I do know at when I was young, it was a big thing for my mom to play certain gospel music. And I didn't like all of it, but some of it I still, I still recall those songs. I could still hear it in my head at different times, so on and so forth. So music, entertainment, we didn't really get exposed to a lot of graphic stuff or bad stuff when I was young. Now it was isolated situations where if I'll be in my grandma's house, again, me and Trevor was like this, so he did a lot of stuff that he introduced me to, being bad. So watching them late night movies on HBO and Cinemax, we weren't supposed to. Now, again, nobody else like introduced us to that. That was just us being bad. But anyway, the ways that feed you feed your spirit, the people that you're around, the conversations you have, the books you read, the music you listen to, all of that stuff has an impact. And for the vast majority of my life, I didn't realize how much of an impact that it had. So being where I'm at right now, I feel like I'm a legit adult. Like, not a baby adult. I've been an adult long enough where, like, okay, I got enough experience where at this point there can be no excuses. Like, whatever I do, I have to own it. It's not what somebody taught me. It's not how somebody else influenced me. It's I got enough information to make informed decisions in most of the areas of my life, and in the areas that I don't have the information, I have enough experience to know if I don't have the information, then I actually need to do some research before I start making important decisions in areas where I'm not educated. So, said all that to say is no excuse. So, same thing with feeding my spirit. I pray every day. I listen to, so I got a different playlist, and I made reference to when I was younger, in one of the other videos, when like in the Who is Clarence series, how I just used to be angry. And I think about the music. So rap, my mom was never into like letting us listen to rap, but you can't really keep kids from the world, especially when everybody else does those things. So my dad listened to it, my Uncle Keith listened to it, other people around listened to it. So we still got exposed to other music. So I think the first major influence as far as music was Tupac for me, outside of like gospel music or R&B. But like, so I'll say rap. Like the first major rap influence for me was Tupac. Tupac, it's like I felt like, man, if because my mom didn't want to listen to it, and he made songs that made sense to me even as a middle school kid. And I really used to feel like, man, if y'all would just listen to what he's saying instead of worrying about if he cussing or not, you would see that he actually got a message. So Tupac was my first major influence, and for anybody that listen to Tupac music, you can draw your own conclusions about how that would feed my spirit. Then it was Busta Rhymes, and I just thought dude was so creative because you know, his first song that blew up was Woo Ha, I Got You All in Check. And just to stay on one rhyme scheme through the entire verse, like that was something nobody did before. So that was very appealing to me. But I used to listen to all kind of music. I remember listening to Green Day, Oasis, you know, stuff like that in middle school, Alanis Morissette. And looking back, it's like I always was really well-rounded because I was always feeding my spirit with things from different areas, different genres. I did listen to gospel music. I did listen to rap. I did listen to alternative music. I did listen to rock. You know, it was a point of time where I probably listened to Nickelback more than anything else. It was a point of time where it was a 98% chance if you saw me with some headphones on, I was listening to DMX. But the difference in the person that was listening to Nickelback or Hoobastank or the Streets or anything like that versus the person that was consistently listening to DMX, two completely different people. The young man that was a manager at Popeyes that was walking to work 2.5 miles, walking home 2.5 miles every day, but I was listening to Boyz II Men. I was listening to Dru Hill. And at those times again, I was heavy into poetry. You know, I was super romantic, but I was feeding my spirit with those things. So now, being more mindful of that, I try to feed my spirit with things that are going to help me grow. And I wish I had been mindful of it earlier. And it's not like people didn't potentially speak about it, because I remember one of my NCOs, Sergeant Stokes, he would talk about his sons and how he wouldn't let them listen to Tupac because he would notice that they would behave a certain way. Now, when he said it at the time, I kind of felt like, yeah, that's an easy cop-out. And I still feel like, to an extent, people give too much credit to external influences about other people's behavior. They always want to blame it on something else, but it's still an element of that's your choice. But it is also important, just the same way you feed your body. If you want to perform a certain way, but you eat donuts and pizza and all of that, like the night before you got a big event, you're probably not going to perform that great. So it does matter. And being more mindful of that is something that I want to make sure I address in this series, because I don't feel like I would be who I am had I not been exposed to so many things and essentially fed my spirit with so many different genres of music and art and entertainment, poetry, all these different things to be the person that I am. But now that I'm more mindful of that, I'm more intentional about, so that's why I am reading the Bible more, trying to research history more, having a more open mind to different experiences, cultures. I want to travel more. I want to go different places. I'm considering, moving out of the country because I'm feeding my spirit. And I think that that's something I don't ever remember anybody really telling me that was important. But being where I'm at in life, really realizing how important it is, I want to make sure that I say it. If nobody else said it, anybody watching this, the people you're around, the music you listen to, the situations you put yourself in, like the social media you consume, whatever you want to find, whatever you look for is what you'll find. So if you are constantly looking for, the gossip and the negativity and you caught up in all of this different stuff, like today was the first day I considered even watching that Diddy thing, because when it first came out, I was just like, that's stupid. But with that being said, I'm kind of curious how all of this stuff went down. But I know, again, I can't feed my spirit with stuff like that all of the time and think it's not going to have an impact. But anyway, anybody other than me that listen to this, be mindful of what you feed your spirit with, and seek the things that you feel like are going to feed your spirit to contribute to you becoming the person you want to become, behaving how you want to behave, thinking how you want to think, because it is a choice. Everything is a choice. So I'm choosing to be more mindful of how I feed my spirit, and I would recommend anybody listening to this do the same.